All right, your boy just wrapped up week 1 check-ins with a brand new client of mine, and here's what that looks like. So he had a few concerns, which are pretty typical of all my online coaching clients that start with me. First one is that he did notice that motivation dipped a little bit after our first week of sessions because it's no longer new. There's no more of that novelty sense of I'm starting a new program, I'm super excited to try something new. Now it's really about setting in motion, okay, week 1 is done, now on to week 2, which if you want to follow a good program that gets good results, you have to be repeating the same thing. You can't just be switching things up all the time, which is probably why you ran into problems where you constantly switch on this program and that program, and you're always chasing the sense of new and novelty, and which is why you're stuck. You're always chasing something new, chasing some change, and then because you're not following something consistent enough, you're not doing it consistently to see the results, which is why you're stuck. So that's exactly what I told him, and just setting that expectation in place that, yes, being novel and being new makes sense time to time, but most of the time we are following a consistent program so that we can make consistent progress. And what is more fun than making progress, not chasing some novel stimulus? Secondly, he's someone who just enjoys running way more than lifting, which is why he sought my help in the first place. But now that we're a week in, he's noticing that adding lifting on top of his running that he's already been doing for a while is proving to be a little bit too much for his body. And so this is what happens when you try to go 100 to 0 and you try to max out on all ends and you don't focus on recovery and you don't focus on following a realistic plan. And so next week, what we're going to dive into is really dialing down and finding that good balance of having both lifting and cardio be productive, but also not cutting out one or the other so that he can maintain both. Which explains a lot of when you try to go in all or nothing, you try to do all the things, diet super hard, lift every day, cardio every day, and you find yourself burning out and not being able to stay consistent. You have to dial down and find what really works realistically for you and also for recovery and balance for your body. And thirdly, when he initially reached out, when he would do this dieting and fitness thing by himself, he would find himself always stuck at around 177, 176, and you can never get lower than that. But because he's highly motivated, he crushed week 1, he's super motivated and everything, he expected a good amount of weight drop, but he's still stuck at the 170. So he voiced some frustration with me, and I made sure to check him and tell him that, hey, this is a long-term journey, and this is the bit where you have to stay consistent and not switch to something else just because things didn't go exactly the way you wanted. But I also pointed out that he dropped down from about 176 average to a new low weigh-in of 174, so that I remind him that we are on the right track. You just have to stay consistent and eventually you will get there. You obviously, all of us want progress and results yesterday, but unfortunately these things take time and you have to stay consistent for weeks and months in order to get to where you want. So yeah, that's pretty much for week 1 of coaching. He tells me what's on his mind. I give him feedback and advice that's applicable to what he said to me. And then from there, we'll consistently reevaluate based on his feedback and I'll give him more and then we'll just roll week after week. If that sounds like exactly something up your alley, you know where to find me in the DMs.